War Sovereign Soaring the Heavens, Chapter 776. I can finally cultivate the 9 dragons' radiant flash. Duan Tian revealed a smile, and with the raise of his hand, the 3-foot-long blade that was condensed into form from origin energy shook suddenly. For a time, besides containing strands of sharp and fierce aura, there were strands of deep azure-colored energy, and violet-colored energy, and earthen yellow-colored energy was mixed within it. The deep azure-colored energy seemed as if it was assisted by the gods, and it fused into one with the 3-foot-long blade that was condensed from origin energy, causing the milky white-colored 3-foot-long blade to gradually become a true 3-foot-long blade that revealed an azure color. Presently, Duan Tian seemed as if he was holding a 3-foot-long blade that was condensed into form from actual wind. Materialization of concept. The 3-foot-long blade itself contained Duan Tian's origin energy and first-level intermediate wind concept, and it emitted the sharp and fierce aura of the first-level intermediate sword concept. Besides that, 4th-level elementary lightning concept and 1st-level elementary earth concept were coiled in the surroundings of the blade. Whoosh! The energy of the heavens and the earth roiled in the sky above Duan Tian and converged to form phenomenon of the heavens and the airs. The first 30 ancient horned dragon silhouettes that appeared belonged to Duan Tian's origin energy. After that, another 20 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared, and these drawn from his first-level intermediate concept. Finally, another 4 ancient horned dragon silhouettes, 1 ancient horned dragon silhouette, and 1 more ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared. They respectively belonged to the 4th-level elementary lightning concept, 1st-level elementary earth concept, and the 1st-level elementary sword concept. A total of 56 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. The strength of 56 ancient horned dragons was the strongest force Duan Tian could exert without utilizing a spirit weapon. Once he utilized a spirit weapon, his strength would be even stronger. Of course, it could only amplify his origin energy, the strength of 30 ancient horned dragons. If he fought with the quasi-royal grade spirit sword or the devil seal tablet, it could amplify strength by 100% and provide the strength of 30 ancient horned dragons. If he fought with a grade 3 spirit sword, it could amplify strength by another 70% and provide a strength of 21 ancient horned dragons. I'm surely unable to utilize the quasi-royal grade spirit sword during the martial competition of the 10 dynasties. I can utilize the Devil Seal tablet, but the precondition is that I can't expose its amplification ability. Duan Tian's gaze flashed as he thought in his heart. What a joke! No matter if it was the quasi-royal grade spirit sword or the Devil Seal tablet, both of them were existences that could provide an amplification of 100%. Once they were exposed, he would surely become the target of all. Perhaps even the members of Skywolf Fort would arouse feelings of greed in their hearts. Duan Tian knew his own limitations. The current him didn't have the strength to defend the quasi-royal grade spirit sword and the Devil Seal tablet. Besides that, the grade 1 spirit sword he obtained in the Sword Monarch's treasure that day couldn't be utilized either. This was only the border of the foreign lands, and not to mention a grade 1 spirit sword, there might not even be a grade 2 spirit sword. The spirit weapons possessed by the young geniuses that are participating in the martial competition of the 10 dynasties will at most be a grade 3 spirit weapon. So besides being unable to utilize the quasi-royal grade spirit sword, the Devil Seal tablet, and the grade 1 spirit sword, I can't use a grade 2 spirit sword either. Duan Tian thought in his heart. After Duan Tian broke through to the void interpretation stage, his origin energy had undergone a tremendous change when compared with his origin energy at the void initiation stage. At the same time that his origin energy had transformed, he could condense a stronger weapon flame as well. In the past, Duan Ling Tian could only condense a grade 3 weapon flame, a violet copper weapon flame. Now, Duan Ling Tian was already capable of condensing a grade 2 weapon flame, a violet silver weapon flame. Relying on the lifetime's worth of weapons refinement experience and technique of the rebirth martial emperor, he could easily refine a grade 2 spirit weapon. While he was still in the Darkhan dynasty, Duan Ling Tian had already more or less gathered all the materials required to refine a grade 2 spirit weapon. Whoosh! 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 With a raise of his hand, Duan Ling Tian withdrew a large pile of materials and intended to start refining. Hiss! A strand of violet-colored flames abruptly shot out from the center of Duan Ling Tian's palm, and there were strands of silver edges coiled around its surroundings, causing it to seem extremely gorgeous. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian started smelting the pile of materials, and profound weapons refinement techniques came readily to him. After around 3 hours passed, a jade-green flexible sword that was thin as a cicada's wing appeared in his hand, and its design was extremely similar to the violet myrtle flexible sword. OM. The origin energy on Duan Ling Tian's hand flickered, causing the jade-green flexible sword to instantly straighten. Along with his origin energy fusing into it, the energy of the heavens and the earth roiled into the sky above him to first form into 30 ancient horned dragon silhouettes before another 24 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared. An amplification of 80%. Not bad. Duan Ling Tian put away the grade 2 spirit sword in his spatial ring with satisfaction, and then he opened his room door and left. He arrived at the balcony of the pavilion and sat there catching some fresh air silently. Duan Ling Tian's gaze flickered as he looked at Skywolf Fort that occupied an extremely vast and spacious area. All along the way to this point since walking out of Fresh Breeze Town, he'd unknowingly grown to such a height from an ignorant youth, and he was even about to represent the Darkhan dynasty to compete with the young geniuses of the other 9 dynasties. In a flash, I've already arrived in this world for over 10 years. Duan Ling Tian sighed in his heart. After being here for more than 10 years, he'd already completely fused into this world, and everything of the earth in his previous life had become an eternal memory. He was already not the cold and merciless king of weapons specialist from all those years ago, and he was instead a true genius martial artist of Cloud Continent. 9 Dragons Radiant Flash. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed as he started to search through the memories of the rebirth martial emperor, and the records related to the high-grade heaven rank offensive martial skill, 9 Dragons Radiant Flash, that was within the sword dragon form appeared in Duan Ling Tian's mind. The 9 Dragons Radiant Flash was powered by sword concept and could be executed together with other concepts. When cultivated to the limit, it could develop 9 divine dragons. 9 dragons striking in unison in an ultimate flash. This was the perfection stage of the 9 dragons radiant flash. Like earth rank martial skills, heaven rank martial skills were divided into the rudiments stage, initial stage, mastery stage, and perfection stage as well. When one divine dragon could be formed when the 9 dragons radiant flash was executed, it was considered to be at the rudiments stage. When 3 divine dragons could be formed, it was at the initial stage. When 5 divine dragons could be formed, it was at the mastery stage. When 9 divine dragons could be formed, it was at the perfection stage. The 9 dragons radiant flash was formed by the rebirth martial emperor from combining 2 heaven rank offensive martial skills. The rebirth martial emperor had cultivated both those high-grade heaven rank martial skills to the perfection stage. Duan Ling Tian muttered to himself as he searched swiftly through the memories of the rebirth martial emperor. A heaven rank martial skills is different from the martial skills I've cultivated in the past. Heaven rank martial skills rely more on comprehension ability and experience. I have to rely on myself in terms of comprehension. But I can absorb the rebirth martial emperor's experience. Even though he didn't cultivate the 9 dragons radiant flash, yet he'd cultivated the 2 types of martial skills that formed the 9 dragons radiant flash. As the saying goes, all roads lead to the same destination. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian started cultivating the 9 dragons radiant flash, and he quickly found the feeling of it. Of course, all of this was because of the rebirth martial emperor's experience. Swoosh. 1 hour later, Duan Lingtian pointed out his fingers that were formed into a sword with the raise of his hand. Instantly, his origin energy faintly condensed into a divine dragon that bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced out. It tore through the sky and caused the air to be compressed, and a wave of ear-piercing sounds of the air exploding resounded out. All of this wasn't the end. Flash. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed, and the eyes of the divine dragon instantly shot out 2 material flashes that whistled out under Duan Lingtian's guidance to pierce into an enormous rock outside Narcissus Pavilion. Instantly, 2 bottomless holes appeared on the enormous rock, and the flashes that entered it easily had vanished without a trace. Whoosh! Duan Lingtian's figure flashed out to arrive at the side of the enormous rock before casually pushing the enormous rock aside. Rumble. After the enormous rock was pushed aside, Duan Lingtian saw 2 bottomless holes on the ground, and his spiritual force couldn't help but stretch out with the intention of finding out its depth. Duan Lingtian's spiritual force stretched out along the 2 little holes for 15 minutes, yet didn't notice its bottom. As expected of a high-grade heaven rank offensive martial skill, what a strong might. Duan Lingtian's gaze lit up. A divine dragon is capable of instantly shooting out 2 flashes. Wouldn't 9 divine dragons be capable of instantly shooting out 18 flashes? Duan Lingtian couldn't help but gasp when he thought up to here. He'd clearly seen the might and speed of the flashes. Even if he executed a high-grade Earth-rank martial skill with a similar strength and condensed his origin energy into form to attack, it would be far inferior in terms of speed to the flash shot out from the eyes of the divine dragon formed from the 9 dragons radiant flash. The 2 flashes from before were too fast and too overbearing. A heaven-rank offensive martial skill. Suddenly, a slightly astounded voice entered into Duan Lingtian's ears. Suddenly, Feng Wudao had appeared on the balcony of the pavilion, and he was looking at Duan Lingtian with a shocked gaze. Uncle Feng. After pushing the enormous rock back to its original place, Duan Lingtian flew out and descended by Feng Wudao's side. I originally intended to choose a heaven-rank martial skill suitable for intermediate wind concept for you. Now it would seem like it was unnecessary. The heaven-rank martial skill you executed earlier is probably a mid-grade heaven-rank offensive martial skill, right? As he finished speaking, the gaze he looked at Duan Lingtian with burned with anticipation. A heaven-rank martial skill was extremely difficult to come by. Even if it was the Darkhan dynasty's Feng clan he was from, there were only a few low-grade heaven-rank martial skills, whereas, because he wandered about the world throughout the years, he'd gathered many heaven-rank martial skills. But they were all low-grade heaven-rank martial skills. According to his knowledge, even the Darkhan dynasty's imperial family didn't possess a mid-grade heaven-rank martial skill, yet never had he imagined that he could see one in Duan Lingtian's possession. Duan Lingtian couldn't help but be stunned when he heard Feng Wudao. The 9 dragons radiant flash he executed earlier wasn't a mid-grade heaven-rank martial skill but a high-grade heaven-rank martial skill. In the end, he nodded and didn't reveal the truth. I hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget like, share, subscribe to channels.